going to repeat that real quickly. We're doing training with Unum on Plain.biz, and also some product training as well. We have Tommy, Rachel, and Tiffany on the line from Unum. It is being recorded. And by the way, for most of you who have worked with Mike in the past, you know sometimes when we do like benefit counselor training calls, we do passwords. I know it's just a training call, but we are going to require training for the Plain.biz. So to kind of knock that out of the way, I'm going to do a few passwords, 3 of them, one at the beginning, one in the middle, one at the end of this presentation today and training call. And this way, just save those passwords so we know that you've done the training with us. So I'm going to just start off with the first password being Apple. So Apple, A-P-P-L-E, Apple. Other than that, Tommy, I'm going to go ahead and make you presenter. And we are recording this.
Alrighty.
And you should have controls.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. Just let me know if you need me to do anything on my end with the GoToMeeting, and I'll ask that everybody, except for the presenter, also make sure that they stay muted so we don't have any background noise.
Okay. So can everyone hear my screen? See my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So for my part, I'm just basically going to log on to the Plain.biz website, and we've already built the enrollment for Westside, so we'll just basically go through a quick demo of the enrollment experience through Plain.biz. And if there's any questions that anyone has along the way, please feel free to interject them, and I will do my best to answer them at that particular time. So, well, here we are at www.plain.biz, and so we do have 2 different regions with Plain.biz. We have the production region, which is the live region that you would go to enroll your employees, and we also have a demo region where we can go and test the enrollment and create different scenarios with employees to see how the enrollment plays out. So for purposes of today, we're going to go to the demo region. It's going to look and feel exactly the same for both regions. So we're just going to log on, and here you just put your Plain.biz logon ID and your password, and so we are logging in. And so any cases that you are attached to at that particular time are going to show up here. And you can filter and search for any particular case as well. So here we have the Westside Union School District. And so the next page would be how you're going to log in. So you will either have case manager access or enroller access or call center access, depending on what logon method is assigned to that case. So since we only have face-to-face enrollment method attached to this case, we'll select that one. Continue. And we have
Tommy, are we going to also be adding a call center to this?
We absolutely can. We have the ability to do that. So if it should be on there, then we can get that added, certainly.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Next, we have authentication types for both the enroller and the employee.
I was going to say, Tommy, the call center should be added because we will be doing call center part of the time.
I can actually really quickly just add that, and we can see what that looks like as well. So give me just one little second, and we'll have it added. Okay, call center. And I'm just adding the authentication types for that call center. I'll be done. Okay, so real quickly, I'll just back out and go back in, and there you see that we have both the face-to-face enroller and the call center methods in there. So if I choose one or the other, and we'll choose call center, and go forward. And here are our authentication types again for both the enroller and the employee. For call center, you do have two choices for your authentication. If you have a signature pad system set up, then you can choose that to sign off on your enrollments. Otherwise, you can choose PIN, which is your Plain.biz password. So you don't have to have a signature pad set up. So for my purposes, I'm just going to choose signature pad. And since I'm a call center, my employee authentication type is going to be a voice authorization. You can also use PIN for that, but you would have to, I guess, create PIN numbers for each employee that would be loaded onto their census or with their census information. And then at time of enrollment, we would enter that PIN number just to authenticate their acceptance for that enrollment. So I'm going to do just voice since we're on call center for right now. Moving forward, this is just going to show your agent information right here. Social Security number is blocked out. You do have the option to show that social if you'd like, or hide it. Okay. Here is my signature pad that I have set up. I'm just going to confirm that. Continue. And here we have our employee search screen. And for purposes of the demo, let's see, we can see all of our employees that we do have loaded already via the census. So we can test any of these particular employees that we want to test without looking at their information first. I don't know who's, the date that they've been hired or anything, that kind of scenario. So, but anytime we can choose any of these at any time to create a particular scenario. I'm just going to add a test employee real quick. And this is how you would add. Yes.
Hey, Tommy, this is Tiffany, the client manager. So if an employee is not listed because they didn't come over on the census, are the counselors going to have the ability to add them in the system, or do they need to reach out to us to have them added?
They have the ability to add them in the system. And this is actually what I'm doing right now when I'm adding a test employee. This would be the way that a regular employee would be added into the system.
Perfect.
Okay. So enter their social. If they do have an employee number associated with them, you can enter that as well. Continue. Oh, well, that social already exists. Have another one. Okay. So here's the employee information screen. And any field that's required is going to have this little asterisk beside it to the right. Need to fill this information out. Class and location information, pay frequencies, address. Let's see what states we have. We're California. And I'm just going to use the current date of hire. I want to make sure it's going to fit within our logic here. Alrighty. So let's just say 40 hours. Continue. And up here we have our dependents section up here. So we can add dependents to our record. Just add a spouse really quickly. Save, and I'll add a child.
So just keep in mind, sorry, Tommy, I'm just going to interject a few things here and there if you don't mind. Just keep in mind, like, say if you're enrolling someone on the whole life and they want to enroll their spouse, and from the home screen that Tommy will toggle back to, if you are in the whole life section and you don't have the ability to add a spouse, it's because you have not added them as a dependent. So just keep that in mind. Any sort of like family coverage that an employee wants to elect, you do need to add dependents first in order to be able to add that coverage. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, but like, I don't think that the system flags you to say like, oh, you need to add a dependent. You just won't have the option.
It may, depending on what kind of view you're in. So we'll go through it real quick and we'll just see what it does. but you can certainly go back at any, if it doesn't flag, we can certainly go back and add, and then go back through the enrollment.
Yeah, it's just something that, like, when I was enrolling with him, it just didn't occur to me automatically. So, yeah.
Okay, so we from here we'll just hit next. Okay, we're at our benefit summary page now. So we can see all the products that we have available for this particular enrollment. We have our whole life, group accident, and group long-term disability. And if an employee has any existing information, let me mute my computer, then there will be an existing coverage button up here, link that you can click, that will show what they have existing with Unum. It will also show that at the individual product level when you go in to enroll. But so if there's no questions at this point, I'm going to go ahead and start the enrollment process, and we'll just see how that goes.
So Tommy, we're not enrolling the voluntary life. The client does have that as existing. So based on what you just said, will their voluntary life coverage be showing in that section for what they currently have? I don't think it will, because I don't think we loaded it, right?
Correct. This is Tiffany. This is Rachel. Yeah, we did not load the existing coverage for voluntary life.
So I guess that's like really good information for any future cases that you guys will be enrolling with us. But in this case, no existing coverage is going to show for the employee. It's just going to be the new products that are available.
Okay, so for whole life, we're just going to go ahead and click. Well, here we go. You have the option to either opt out automatically if you know you don't want that coverage. You just click opt out, and it will say, okay, confirm opt out, verify that you've chosen not to participate, and this. If you want to add additional family members, click back and answer employee's active work question before waiving coverage. So you have the ability to actually waive the employee coverage and elect dependent coverage. So this is explaining how to do that. So you would just confirm right here if you want to continue with opting out altogether. We're going to go back, and we have learn pages attached to these. So if an employee wants to see, well, okay, what does this whole life look like? And so we can go directly to that learn page if my system is not going to clock.
And I guess that also brings up a point. You may come across times where your system clocks as well. So in other words, you might experience delays when you're on a certain page and clicking to another. So you just need to be patient and, you know, not, of course, express any frustration to the employee that you're sitting with, like, oh, I'm waiting for the system. So just know it'll come up.
Yes, thank you. And also, if you do need to hit to go a back page or anything like that, there's always within the enrollment there should be a back button, like at the bottom of the page. If you click the back button up here on your browser, that has been known to cause issues from time to time. So anytime that you want to do a back page, please scroll down and see if there is a back button on the actual page. Do not use the browser back button for that. Okay, so for our learn pages, it's just going to show pretty much everything, all the frequently asked questions about what the coverage is, give answers to each of those. Okay, keep explaining living benefit, next, who can get coverage, all your options for your child term benefit, all this other information. So they can go through several pages sometimes of the learning materials for that product. Okay, so here we are at the product level, and we are in what we have the enrollment app view. So this view is actually a very streamlined, more user-friendly enrollment view than our traditional plain.biz platform. And so basically all your questions are going to be on one page. There's not going to be several pages to click through. So this is going to be a very easy experience for both the enroller and the employee. So our tobacco question, answer that, and then you're going to pop up with your coverage options. And for our employee, we basically have the 3 choice plan amounts. We're going to show what our premium is going to be monthly for that. You can view all premiums on this. Just have a little table pop up, and it'll show you per pay period. This is your premium. This is what it is per week, which is our standard when we enter our premiums in our system. They are all weekly, and then they convert to whatever pay period is associated with that employee. Your particular benefit amount that's associated with that premium, and the cash value at age 65. So they can actually kind of see at a glance what the total benefit is going to be for that. So we can just select our benefit. And if there is going to be an amount over a guarantee issue, then your medical questions will pop up down here. Other options for the whole life, child term benefit, automatic premium loan, check that. Most of the time with whole life, if you select the child term benefit, it doesn't allow you to select child coverage along with it. At least sometimes it does, depending on the actual whole life product. We'll see if that's the case here. But here we can select our beneficiaries, and it defaults to the estate. So if you do want to assign any of the dependents that you've already added, they will automatically pop up, and you can select a percentage for those at that point. You can add another beneficiary if you'd like down here. For the ones that are listed, if you want to share equally, just an easy click right there, and we'll save that.
And I don't know if you all caught, but there's the ability to use the drop down to designate a primary beneficiary and then a contingent as well. So just a little note there.
There we go.
Thank you.
Primary and contingent.
Yeah, thanks.
And let's see, do you have existing life insurance coverage? No, we don't. Okay. So now we move on to the spouse. Tobacco question, no. View all premiums. This is the only choice available for spouse coverage. Tells you all that information. So we're going to select that. Automatic premium loan. Select the beneficiaries for the spouse. Same question right here. Okay, so we do have no coverage amounts available for the child on the actual whole life enrollment. So we can go ahead, we do have that child term benefit that we can elect up to $10,000 on. So it will say no coverage amounts available, and that may look confusing, but we do have the rider that allows that child term benefit there. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay. All right, so down here is basically, for the enroller, do you have any knowledge or reason to believe that the applicant has existing life insurance coverage, long-term care, or annuity? No. Do you have knowledge or reason to believe that the proposed insurance is intended to replace any existing coverage? No. To the best of your knowledge and belief, all the above statements are true. And this is like a very, very condensed, kind of a contractual thing that you're acknowledging for both you and the enroller. And if there are any existing coverages that you know of, it gives you the opportunity to list those. So we've confirmed that everything is good. And then down here, by selecting enroll, you're confirming all of these statements right here. You're actively working in the United States. You're not replacing an existing coverage. Each applicant lives in the United States. If electing spouse coverage, you're confirming that spouse has not been admitted into the hospital. So any conditions that you need to agree to are all in this box right here. And there is a link below here if you want to review all the legal and compliance documents as well.
So just keep in mind, if we're replacing coverage, like I know we're all licensed, so we know this, but if we're replacing coverage, there's a lot of strict rules around replacing coverage. So if we say yes to any of those questions, there'll be more that follows suit and more of a process. So if we're adding on additional coverage, say they already have a whole life policy with their spouse's company, that's totally fine. We can certainly add coverage. It's just the replacement that things get really sensitive.
And if you wouldn't mind, it says you can check a box to send a confirmation email. What would they be receiving? Confirmation of the whole life application or that they enrolled? What's that box for?
It does send a confirmation that they've enrolled. So during our testing and everything, we don't really check this and send an email because it will actually send an email to to whatever address you have in there. But it does send a confirmation to the employee that they've enrolled.
Okay, so it's not to be used for, they'll get an email version of, let's say, their policy. This is just a confirmation. Okay.
Yes, just like a little confirm letter. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on enroll. And it brings us back to the benefit summary page. Now, if you remember what I said about the child coverage, like an actual policy itself is not actually, the child didn't get a chance to actually choose coverage for the whole life itself. It's through the rider. So it is going to say opt out here for child, even though we've elected the child term rider coverage for that. So just be aware of that.
So one thing that I noticed, Tommy, I thought that if they elected the child term rider, then it would just be at $10,000, but it looks like there's options there in $1,000 increments. Maybe Rachel or Tommy, can you guys confirm that it is actual increments, or do we know that offhand?
That's at least how it's coded. I'm not sure from my perspective. I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be. We receive the instructions on how to build it, and we build it that way. If it doesn't need to be options and it just needs to be a flat 10, we can certainly correct that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to accident. Accident's going to be super simple. Basically, who would you like to cover? So we have it's our tiered product. We'll go ahead and cover all three, or you can say no thanks and opt out. And basically, you select your beneficiaries, or leave them defaulted at a state. Total pay period cost, and with the same disclosures down here that you're signing off on, we click enroll. And we're done with group accident. It's that simple. Any questions about anything with group accident? Moving on to group long-term disability. I'll go ahead and click on the Learn pages for this, and this is going to look a little bit different than the others. We've actually loaded our flyer, the custom flyer for this, and so it tells you basically in all the things that you saw in the Learn pages for the whole life, it are listed here for the group long-term disability. So how does it work? Why is this coverage valuable? Considered monthly expenses, everything it includes. Down here we actually get into the benefit. So the coverage amounts cover 60% of monthly income up to a maximum of $6,000. About your elimination period, all the information you need to know, and has a worksheet to figure out what your coverage is and what your premium is going to be. Also, your rates are listed here for your different age bands and all the exclusions and limitations.
So this is helpful because if you forget what the pre-ex is on the policy, you can just scroll to that exclusions and limitations page and see that it's 312. So that's definitely helpful as a reference.
Absolutely. Okay, so going into enroll. I mentioned earlier the enrollment app view for the other two products that we have for our VB products. The enrollment app does not at this time support the group product. So the group product is actually going to be on the traditional plain.biz view. And you'll see the differences there. It's not going to be quite as streamlined, but you have all the information that you need here as well. So basically on this page, it's telling you, okay, you have the option of 60% of your monthly salary. This is what it's going to be like per the salary you've listed. Benefit period monthly. Here's your employee cost. And so we select it, or we can opt out. We'll accept that. Then we're going to come to this page. Just kind of a quick recap of your monthly deduction and everything. Disclaimer, please note the above section only reflects the response to your application. Actual coverage issued, if any, will be subject to underwriting guidelines if needed. So we want to confirm that. And that takes us back to the benefit summary page. And we can see everything that we've elected or opted out of at that point. And next step would be to sign the benefit election authorization. And it has a little thing down here saying, okay, you've not signed it, we need to sign it. So let's go ahead and confirm. And again, this is kind of maybe a little more detailed version of what you've elected. And then your authorization right here. And applicant not signed yet, so we're going to sign. And we're voice authorized since we are on the call center method. So at this point, once you see the voice authorized or the signed or whatever it is, what method that you've chosen to enroll with, you can go back up and you can say, here's a printer-friendly version if you want to print it out or anything like that. And that would just, from there, printer-friendly version, and it will show here at the bottom, voice authorized, and here's the date and time that it was authorized by the employee. And you can choose to print it or whatever you want to do at that point.
If we're not in the TES function, the telephonic function, are they going to be set up, like would they put in a PIN number or how's that going to work?
That's going to be really easy to demonstrate. So let me just come back out of here real quick. I'll go back in. And let's go for enroller. And let's choose, okay, we're going to go for me, I'm going to go for signature pad. And for the employee, if you're not going to use signature pad, which, you can choose e-signature, and basically choosing e-signature for the employee confirmation would be a little 4-digit code. And so let's just go through a little piece of the enrollment again, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, so let's just go through this again. Okay, so we're choosing our benefit amount. We accept, confirm. Well, okay, not doing that for group long-term disability. I don't think it'll do it in the enrollment app view. Okay, so whether you're in as an enroller or call center in this instance, it's going to look kind of the same. So there's your confirmation is basically going to be, okay, we're accepting this, confirm this, and let's go here. Let's try the BEA and see if it does. For the BEA, please sign. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we're popping up here by entering the 4-digit authorization code displayed below and clicking confirm you agree with the applicant statement. So you would just, and this is a randomly generated code. So you would just type that in.
So the intent here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, is that the employee is actually typing in this code, and this is their basic, it's basically their signature, that they're, adding in this code saying, yes, this is what I've selected in terms of my benefits. And then you click on confirm.
Absolutely, you're correct.
Okay. And then I think from this page too, we can email them the BEA, the benefit election authorization, from here, right?
From here, let's see. I don't see an option to actually email it.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see if it has anything here in the printer-friendly version.
Yeah, hi Tiffany. I think you can only do it when you're on the product.
Okay. What I know I've done in the past is I've saved this actual from the screen to my desktop, and then I've emailed it to employees just in case they want to do that. So maybe an option if that one's, if you want to exercise that.
Yeah. So from this view also, there's not really a direct email button or anything right here from here either. So I guess printing it off, as a PDF, would be the thing that if you wanted to email the entire BEA.
Or if need be, is Mike on the call?
No, I don't think Mike is on the call.
Okay, I was just going to say, Ronnie, Tommy has Mike set up as the case manager, so at the conclusion of the enrollment, if he needs to print off the benefit election authorizations for all of the employees, we can actually show him at a later time how to do that.
Okay, and most likely it'll probably be Andrea or I that would probably do that, so you can just show that to us later.
Okay, perfect.
You're talking about batch printing, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone have any other questions about the enrollment process through Plain.biz?
Please don't be shy. Definitely ask us questions. We went through it fairly quickly. So please, if there's anything that, might be tickling your brain, by all means. Oh, looks like Patrick has a question. So are beneficiaries a mandatory entry before being able to move past life insurance? I believe they are. Yes, Tommy?
Yes, I believe they are. So if we go, well, for the enrollment app view, it's not.
This is Patrick. So it defaults to the estate, or you can enter it, but if you don't enter it, it just stays as spouse and child?
Yes. And let me get back to the, let's see, I'll opt out of this coverage real quick, and we'll go back through. And it usually will pop up a little, if you haven't made any kind of move on your beneficiaries, then it will usually pop up a little question here at the bottom when you try to enroll. And let me get to that real quick. So you confirm and enroll. Okay, yeah, are you sure you don't want to name a beneficiary? And if you want to add a beneficiary at that point there, and you can click yes, I'm sure, but it does default to the estate if you don't make a move.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Tommy, those the beneficiaries that are listed as an option, is that just pulling from the dependents that you added in the beginning?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh yeah, anything you add in the beginning. Go ahead.
Looks like you can add right there, though.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a beneficiary section also at the top of the page. So it looks like we wouldn't have to add that separately. Or did you add that separately?
No, that's also pulling. No, that's pulling from.
Okay.
Who we added on the dependent screen. So that's pulling from here.
Perfect.
So this will just show you who all the options are so far. So if you do click on beneficiaries, it shows you who you added in the beginning as well as the estate.
Perfect. And then Normita has a great question. She asked, does the platform work better on a specific browser? And this is actually super important. I'll let you answer.
We do. Yeah, we do ask that it be current versions of Internet Explorer. I believe Chrome and maybe Firefox. I don't get asked this question a lot, so I don't know the exact version. That would be like the latest or the like you have to have at least this particular version. But yeah, definitely current versions of Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer is our main one that we use for this, but I think it also works with Chrome and Firefox.
And then if there's, for some reason, the inability to connect to the internet, can you just walk through what the process would be for enrolling offline?
Yeah, there would be I can talk through it. I wouldn't be able to walk through it right now because actually the disconnected feature I don't have on my laptop at this moment.
Okay.
But you would be able to click on a particular, there's a plain.biz icon, I believe, that you would have on your laptop, or that you can download to your laptop, that you can enroll disconnected from. And it's just basically going in, you're just saying, okay, you're going to download the case to your laptop. So you do have to be connected to the internet to download the case to your laptop. But once it's downloaded to your laptop, you do have the ability to work offline. And then any enrollments that you take offline, you could just sync to production after you're done.
I would recommend doing that as just like, just as like a backup. That is something that I would recommend that everybody does. But I think we should be okay with internet access. So if you're not able to get to it, that's okay too. But again, just as a backup might be a good idea.
Any other questions? Okay. So if we go to the employee section, so you can search for employee if you would like to, by last name, first name, date of birth, social, or even interview status. You can search by that as well as a filter, or you can just click on search and it brings up the whole list of all your employees. So all of your employees will be listed there. Choose one, and we can see all the information that has been pre-filled from the census. You are able to add any of the other information that's not pre-filled. So you can review all of that before you continue to the enrollment. Let's see, reporting for case managers. You do have the reports section up here. Available reports. These are all the available reports that you can use. Enrollment statistical summary, interview management. I think the enrollment statistical summary is probably what you would need at the end of the enrollment to submit all of your applications that you've taken through the entire enrollment. But I think those instructions are listed on the case delivery email that I had sent out as well. So, but if
And sorry, Tommy. Ronnie, this is Rachel. We can connect at the conclusion of the call, or actually later this afternoon, if you want to, once we have your case manager access added, and I can kind of walk you through this process. Just as a FYI, it looks a little, in the production environment, you do the live environment, you'll have a few different options that you can run in reporting, but for demo, it's kind of limited. But we can certainly connect on that once your access has been established.
Perfect. Andrea, we'll set something up so we only have to do it once between the three of us, so that'll be perfect. By the way, since since we're in the middle of this right now, I'm going to throw out one more password, and that's going to be PIE, P-I-E. So PIE is going to be the second password. Okay.
So Tommy or Rachel, do we have any like print screens or step-by-step instructions navigating through Plain that we can provide? As sort of like a desk side companion, or even that enables people to kind of just poke around the system a little bit more easily?
I believe I do have a frequently asked questions document that I can send out. Let's see.
Lonnie, was that T as Tom or P as Paul, i.e.?
P as Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, because I know Andrea was looking for like some sort of like an enrollment flow that we can send out to benefit counselors.
Yeah, if you have it on PDF or PowerPoint, that would be great, because we know after the fact, benefit counselors will have questions. I forgot how to do this. If we have something that to jog their memory, that would be great.
Hey, I made it, guys.
Hey, Mike.
Well, hello.
Hey, been unable to dial in. Don't know what the story was. Of course, it had something to do with being on Highway 1.
It's not going to make any sense for East Coast friends right now.
I do have
Mike, by the way, we are recording this. Tommy already went through, showing us how to do an enrollment, and it was pretty streamlined and easy. Anybody who's enrolled on Harmony should be able to do this without any issues.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I was going down Highway 1, so, I think I crossed down, got by the coast about 10 till 6, and had no reception. And so I'm down by Santa Monica now, and it's better, so I got in. So sorry I wasn't there earlier. But Tiffany, did I hear your voice? Oh, so sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say I also have, in addition to the frequently asked questions document, also have a set of training links that I can send out as well that can go over like case notifications, assigning enrollers, generating reports, the data sync tool, which is what we were talking about earlier with the enrolling disconnected, enrollment overview process notifications at the end, and the product overview for whole life. And it also gives like a little snippet of the enrollment app that we used with the case as well. So I can send this document out as well.
That'd be great. Thank you. Yes, hello, Mike. I'm here. You heard my voice.
Yes, I thought so. Good morning. Did you have a wonderful day in Palmdale yesterday?
It was good. It was good. How about yours?
Good. Yeah, there was about 32 people out of 94 in the room. They let me go first, so that was good. I didn't have to stay and go at the end, which is normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good.
That was good.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep Tommy hostage on the call, but does anybody else have any questions relative to Plain, how it works, anything like that? Feel free to come off mute and ask anything that you might want to.
And Tom, if you want to send those flyers, this is Ronnie, to myself and to Andrea Tiers, and we'll make sure to forward it on to all the benefit counselors. And we're starting a file that will be able to keep all that material in one place for Unum.
Okay, very good.
All right. We should be all set then. So I'll go ahead and proceed with product training and just some general kind of tidbits and whatnot. But Tommy, if you wanted to jump off, you're more than welcome to stay if you'd like, but I'm sure you have some other things to get to. So
Tommy, if you can go ahead and, well, let me see if I can do that and make myself presenter. Rachel, do you need to be presenter? Show your screen now?
No, I don't need to.
Yeah, no.
Okay. For the products already.
And thank you again, Tommy, for your time this morning.
All right, thank you all for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so just some logistics. So I think we all kind of know this information, but it's worth, I suppose, repeating. So our enrollment dates are April 24th to May 9th. So that's our one-on-one period thus far. And then on May 10th and 11th, those dates are reserved for our telephonic line. So, of course, we want to get as many people as possible coming to us for the one-on-ones. So we're really just reserving that telephonic line as sort of our cleanup method. The effective date for anybody that elects benefits is going to be June 1st. And then the products that we're enrolling, of course, are group long-term care, accident insurance, voluntary long-term disability, and whole life. In terms of the dressing, and essential benefits team, correct me if there's anything that you would say that you would like to see differently, but I would say business casual would be certainly sufficient. I'll go ahead and send out a document as well of what kind of my definition of business casual is. I think, some people, might think one thing and others might think something else. So just so we're all on the same page, there's just a picture that I'll send out. Ties are definitely not required for the gentlemen, but certainly no jeans. But if you feel comfortable in the tie, by all means. So in terms of your arrival, so you'll definitely need to arrive early. And I know a lot of this is just of course, we already know these things, so forgive me that I'm going through them. But you'll need to arrive early to kind of locate the work area. Some of these schools are rather large, so you might need to walk across a certain distance. So to kind of just be prepared for that. certainly have time to set up and log into Plain. That's definitely going to take you a few minutes. And then even though it sounds like, Ronnie, you feel like the system is comparable to others that have been used in the past, I would definitely say that you want to do some advanced preparation and spend some time reviewing, getting yourself oriented in Plain later this week or even today. That'll be really, really important because my feeling is it's fairly intuitive, but there are certain intricacies of Plain that are unique to it. So for myself, I guess I can only speak for myself, I definitely needed some time kind of getting used to the system. So please just kind of plan accordingly, make sure that you spend some time in the system, doing a dry run for yourself, going through an employee and kind of just like talking through in your head how you would enroll someone. So the first day, so that April 24th date is going to be really like a really, really important day. It's the first day at the district, and all of the higher ups are already signed up to see counselors that day. The very first interview or the first one-on-one is going to be with the main decision maker. So it really is going to be super, super imperative that you kind of do your pre-work, you're ready, you know, you're very, you know, smooth in your delivery, and everything feels, you know, very organized. Okay, so diving into the product. So before I get there, any questions about that in terms of logistics? Anything anyone wants to add? Yeah.
I have a question. So one of the things we need to do is to address this week the coordination of the substitute teachers in the very beginning of the day. You know, that we should arrive early on day one at each location, early enough, and communicate with the substitute teachers prior to day one, so we have a plan. I mean, it's not complicated. It's just we need to touch base so we're not trying to, you know, 15 minutes before the first meeting, find out who the substitute teacher is, and are they in the same spot we are? Do they know where to go for the first meeting? Do they have access to the scheduler? Do they know how to, you know, read the scheduler? And do we have communication? So, yes.
Mike, sorry to interrupt. I wanted to see if we could do the logistics on the back end and just have her go over the products first. We have a whole bunch of benefit counselors that are on the line right now, and they're not part of the actual enrollment. So I want to make sure that they can do some of the product training, and then anybody who's on the actual Westside enrollment, we can hang on the back end to do logistics.
Okay. All questions to the end. You got it.
All right, so diving into the products, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on, you know, the product description. I'm sure you all already have kind of your script, so I'll just kind of provide a quick summary. So I'll start with the group long-term care. It is going to be important that we certainly highlight and make the long-term care very much a part of our discussion pieces. This was the product that got the door open for us to have one-on-ones and talk to employees. So we want to make sure it's not something that we're glossing over and we give it the proper attention that's due. But long-term care, so that's a benefit that's paid if an individual is unable to perform 2 or more of the activities of daily living. So those activities of daily living are, you know, eating, bathing, dressing. If they're not able to do that on their own without substantial assistance from somebody else, that's when a benefit is going to be paid. So the coverage helps to pay for care provided like by adult daycare, home health care, nursing facility, etc. So in terms of eligibility, a person is eligible if they work 30 or more hours per week. And then the coverage options are fairly extensive here. So an employee can cover themselves, they can cover a spouse or domestic partner, they can cover a parent or a grandparent, they can cover their spouses or domestic partners, parent or grandparent, and they can cover siblings and children. For children, they need to be at least 18. So they really have to kind of be, you know, adult age. You cannot cover a 16-year-old as a child.
This is Andrea real quick. Are we supposed to be seeing something on the screen? Ronnie, did you make her presenter?
I asked, I think Rachel said they didn't have anything.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I mean, we can take a look at what I'm kind of going from, if that would be helpful. I'm fine with sharing it, but I'm kind of just going through it verbally too. So whatever works best.
Here. Is that Rachel or Tiffany speaking? I'm so sorry.
It's Tiffany. No, it's okay.
All right. I'm looking for you on here and seeing if I can just make you presenter.
Because some people are visual, even though you're saying it. Sometimes it's nice to see it.
Yeah, no, I'm not referencing anything fancy, but certainly happy to share. So I'm sharing it now. Let me know when you can see it. Perfect.
Yes, I can.
Okay, very good. So I am right here at this point. So, so the benefit amount is anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000 per month, and then the employee also determines the duration. So it's either going to be for 3 years or 6 years. So the thing that we'll want to highlight about the long-term care is the fact that we have a guarantee issue opportunity for employees. And that's a really unique thing, actually. So since we exited the long-term care market in 2002, we have never approved an open enrollment. So as employees, are hired newly, they certainly have the opportunity to elect long-term care on a guarantee issue basis. But if they miss that window, that's it. They really don't have another opportunity. They need to answer medical questions to have the coverage. So this is a super unique opportunity where it's a full, it's an open enrollment for everybody to access the guarantee issue on a one-time basis. And it is really a unique opportunity that they would want to take advantage of. So something that I've been asked in group meetings as of yesterday and in other meetings is, does the GI cover parents as well? Because that's kind of maybe where people's thoughts mainly are at, or covering parents or grandparents that are really becoming elderly. They can't care for themselves anymore. The answer to that is no. The guarantee issue only applies to employees, and that guarantee issue amount is $3,000 for 3 years. So they're more than welcome to elect the $3,000 coverage for 6 years. And of that, the $3K for 3 years is going to be GI. The 6 years is going to require, medical questions that we would approve or not. We would need to review it. There is a pre-existing exclusion, and if anybody wants me to explain pre-ex, that's fine. But I'm confident that we all feel pretty good about that. It is 6/6. So if they go out within the first 6 months, then we're going to look back to the 6 months prior to the effective date. The coverage is, of course, portable. And typically, as I mentioned earlier, this is enrolled upon new hire after this open enrollment. That will continue to be the case. And we are enrolling this product. Some of you may have noticed on plain.biz, we don't have the group long-term care. The way that we're enrolling it is by paper. So we'll want to make sure before you kind of start your day that you have like a stack of the long-term care kits so that you can enroll people who are interested. Any questions about the long-term care? It's a unique product. So if there are questions, by all means, jump in there. And for some reason, I can't see the chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see the chat. So any questions, go ahead, feel free.
How will we handle that on the call center?
That is an excellent point. That will be a takeaway question for me.
I would recommend you make sure that the employees are going to have the call center usage, that they know that they have to fill out a long-term care app, paper app, and then we leave a supply of those at the office of the school, and that way they know exactly where to get them from the school secretary.
Okay, it's a good option. Okay, any other questions? Will we have to order the long-term care kits? No. We'll make sure to supply you with a stack. Anything else? All right, so moving on, accident insurance. So accident insurance provides lump sum benefits paid according to the schedule of benefits for accidents and many of the related treatments. So the schedule is going to be attached to the flyers that you'll have as well. So really this is, super comparable to like an Aflac product. The eligibility is different here. It's 17.5 hours per week. And then the coverage options are employee, employee and spouse, employee and children, and then employee and family. So it's really just those 4 options. There is no age requirements for an employee. A spouse must be between the ages of 17 and 64. And then children are covered up to their 26th birthday. So of course, this product is super popular with employees that have, families with like young kids because they're in the emergency room all the time. And then, basically like anytime there's an injury, they can kind of like think of like payment. The benefits stackable, again, according to the schedule, and then subsequent occurrences are covered. So it's not like, okay, I had an incident this year where I broke my leg, I broke it again because it was weak, I'm going to get a reduced benefit, nothing like that. Each occurrence is covered according to the schedule. Guarantee issue is not applicable here. No EFI is required. An employee does need to apply during an open enrollment, but they can do that at any open enrollment. No exclusions here. Something to really highlight about this benefit is the wellness benefit. It's $50 per year per covered insured. So if I have my family covered, say I have myself, my spouse, and my 2 kids covered, if we all have a covered wellness exam, which includes, there's a whole list of tests, but basically blood work would need to be included. So keep in mind that's not always going to be the case certainly not going to be the case for a general physical for like a young kid. But say you did have blood work for your kid, then, and I've had those 4 people covered, then I would receive $200 for that year in the wellness benefit. So when you kind of go through Plain and you illustrate to them how much the monthly benefit is, and you compare that to the wellness benefit that's being paid, in many instances, it can cover up to half your premium. So basically they're getting like half of the year of coverage free. So just make sure that you're definitely highlighting that, talking about it, but let's not overpromise. We want to be specific about the fact that like it needs to be a covered test in order for a wellness benefit to be paid. But like for us as adults, like our annual wellness exam, where standardly we're going to get blood work taken, that's certainly covered under the wellness benefit. It's a portable coverage, and as I mentioned earlier, it's enrolled annually. Any questions on accident?
Only one. Just wanted to point out to everybody that there's no individual spouse or coverage for children only. It's always employee plus a family member, like hospital confinement from Colonial. So don't be confused by that.
Yeah, great point. Okay, so moving on to voluntary long-term disability. So of course, if somebody is injured or ill, they're unable to work for an extended period of time, they don't have any income coming in, how are they paying, the regular expenses that they have? So that's where voluntary long-term disability would come into play, paying a percentage of their earnings while they're disabled and not able to work. The coverage kind of flips back in terms of eligibility to 30 hours per week here, so similar to long-term care. Employee only is covered under the long-term disability, so we can't cover spouses, children, etc. No age requirements. The elimination period is 90 days, so benefits are going to begin on the 91st day of disability. The benefit is paid at 60% of earnings to a $6,000 monthly maximum. The coverage duration is the normal retirement age. Guarantee issue, I mean, it is applicable since it's the open enrollment. Other than that, employees will only have guaranteed coverage when they're newly hired. Outside of that, they're going to need to require, EFI is going to be required. There is the pre-existing exclusion of 312 on the policy. The coverage is not portable. So this is one of the coverages, the only coverage that's not portable. Any questions on LTD? All right, so moving on to the last product, whole life. So this is, life insurance coverage that's really intended to cover the person for their whole life. The benefit amount stays fixed as well as the premium amount. So, what they enter in at, nothing is going to change. It's really considered kind of a final expense policy. And then, of course, the big thing that one of the big things that we want to emphasize is that it earns interest at a guaranteed rate of 4.5%. Eligibility, again, is different here at 70.5 hours per week. And then coverage options are employee, spouse, and child. The child can be covered with the employer spouse policy only. It's that term life rider that's attached to the employer, the spouse coverage. No age requirements for the employee, but the spouse needs to be between, I'm thinking that 15 might be wrong. I'll need to double check that, but 15 and 80. And then children are covered from 14 days to their 25th birthday. And the benefit amount the employee elects between $6, $9, or $12 per week. The spouse is $3 per week. And then the term life benefit is, it looks like it's actually an increment, so I'll double check that as well, up to $10,000. Again, duration, normal retirement. Oh, I'm sorry, no, the duration is permanent. No guarantee. Oh gosh. Let me skip those two. So the exclusion is a 2-year death benefit, and then this is fully portable. All right, so those are the products. Any questions?
Tiffany, can Andrea and I get a copy of this? We can also add this to our enrollment guidelines. That would be perfect. And I guess we'll open it up to any questions regarding the Unum products. I know it's not your whole line of products, but a lot of our benefit counselors stayed on just to get an overview of what you offer, which is similar. I'm going to do the third password now, which is going to be CAKE, C-A-K-E, that's C-A-K-E, CAKE, and then see if any of the benefit counselors have any questions regarding the Unum products before they hop off. And then everybody who is on the Westside School enrollment, let's just stay on for a little bit longer so Mike and Andrea can go over some logistics.
One final thing that I'll add is just that on the long-term disability, I skipped over this, there are the value adds of the Employee Assistance Program and then the Travel Assist. So for our Employee Assistance Program, we're actually partnering with Health Advocate as of 5/1, so that will be in effect as of this enrollment. And the really, really cool feature about Health Advocate that we want to emphasize when talking to employees is there's a medical bill saver. So any medical, dental, anything like that, bills that are at least $400 or more, a counselor will be assigned and will advocate for the employee and will negotiate on their behalf with a provider to bring that medical bill down. So something to definitely highlight and keep in mind. And then the Travel Assist comes into play when traveling away from home 100 miles or more. So.
Are your benefits worldwide, like if they were on a trip, I don't know, in Europe and had an accident or something?
Yeah, great question. They are.
Okay.
Well, if there's no more questions regarding products, I want to thank all of the extra benefit counselors that stayed on to do the Plain.biz training and the partial product training, and anybody from the Westside School enrollment team, if they can stand a little bit longer so we can discuss any logistics regarding that specific enrollment. And everybody else, thank you so much for attending. Oh, Mike, you have the floor.
Don't want the floor.
Just while Westside is here, I'm sorry, I just had mentioned the picture that I would send out. I'll just kind of have it on the screen here. So this is kind of like my idea of business casual.
There we go. So back to the question about back to the question about organizing and substitute teachers and the meeting room. So it seems to me that with every location, I was reminded yesterday that the first thing we have to do is go to the office and sign in, and the office will tell us where they're going to meet. However, in advance, we should probably warn the offices that the benefit counselors are going to need a place with power. And if there's 2 benefit counselors, of course, we're going to need 2 desks. someplace. So, Tiffany, would you like our team to reach out to each one of the school locations and find and have that communication?
Yeah, thank you for the offer. I will actually reach out to Susan and find out where we're at with that. And then if I'll offer that we can reach out to each one of the locations, and if she takes me up on that, then I'll take you up on that.
Cool. All right. Great. Awesome. And then, of course, we need to tie in the substitute teachers. Do we have a list on who's going to be assigned to each location with their contact information, so we can reach out to them, make sure they've got the benefit counselor on that location's contact information, and that we want them to touch base prior to day one, so there's some coordination and we're not scrambling the morning of.
Yeah, that is already on my list as something to sort out this week. So, yeah.
Great.
And then I did have a question on the 24th, which is the district offices. Is a substitute teacher needed there, or would, since those employees there are really not teaching, they're admin people, do we need a substitute teacher there, or can they leave their desk to go to their appointment time without a substitute teacher?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. And I'll just kind of leave it up to Susan. We certainly have enough in terms of implementation credit. One of the things too that I'd like to, just kind of speaking of the implementation credit, that I'd like to kind of narrow down with her is whether we want to kind of have like balloons at each site, maybe at like the entrance of each school, just kind of like maybe with like one of the enrollment signs, the posters. And then maybe we can also have the balloons at the room that the benefit counselors will be at as well, just sort of like as a visual flag also. So that's something else that I'll kind of be talking to them about too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That would make it cheery to have balloons. Would catch the eye.
Well, too, just to kind of alleviate any confusion, like, oh, which way do I go? What room are they in? It kind of might be an anchor for everybody. Yeah.
And I was going to say would catch the eye. So yeah, you're right. That there's where I go.
Yeah.
Any other logistics? Oh, you know what? Since we have Mike on the phone now, you said we were going to try to get some sort of a login set up. I guess it would be under Mike for Andrea and I, so we can go over like batch printing and the reporting at some point. I mean, we could set up a time for later today or later on in the week. That's fine. I just want to make sure we don't forget to do that.
We got an email requesting our socials to have us added as admin from, I think it was Rachel. I don't know if you saw that, right, Ronnie?
I saw that on Patrick's computer when they were asking for mics yesterday, but I didn't see. I thought it was just for Mike. So I'll double check my emails. If not, Rachel, I'll just send it to you.
It just came a few minutes ago, or a little while ago.
Then. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it came from Rachel. So she could add
Rachel, I'll get that
case manager access. Yeah.
Well, what's good for you guys this week to set something up?
Yeah, so then we can see how to pull those reports that we can have access to.
Okay. Rachel, is there any time this week that's good for you?
Rachel, if you're still there, you're on mute.
No, I had that issue before too. It's like, what are you doing?
Start talking, and you're like, why is anybody responding?
I know. Where's my unmute button?
I can reach out to her separately, but it's actually super. Okay. That aspect of Plain is actually super intuitive in terms of pulling reports. You can kind of just poke around in there, but we can definitely kind of lead you through that too. Not a problem.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else you can think of, Andrea, Mike? Tiffany?
I can't right now. I'm
Rachel?
sure there's something. But
You know, the minute we hang up, something will come up. Well, what I did is I did record from the beginning, so we'll have that if anybody needs to review, especially the enrollment, flow that we did earlier with Tommy. So that'll be great to refer back to if somebody's, especially new to enrolling. That was really great. And I think Tommy's going to send us over some of the flyers that he used. We'll keep that off to the side. And if you can send what you have right now up on the screen over to Andrea and I, that would be really great for our guidelines. But outside of that, I think we might be good. Anything else? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.